You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Climb the ladder, kid! Make yourself famous!
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, and still NXT champion, but I like to call him Tucky!
What's going on? Kyle, monitor feedback.
You happy I gave you the rub at least in the intro?
I do, yeah. My face lit up. I was hoping you'd see that.
So when we were watching Takeover, and if you didn't listen last week, we had one different selection, and it was in the North American title match. And I wanted to reassure that that was the case before the match, so I texted you, and I go, this decides it all, right? And this is the second match on the card.
Yeah.
And you're like, yep.
Correct.
And I got really pumped, got in the mood for Kushida and everything, and Johnny Gargano won.
Hey!
So you're still holding on to the belt. How does it feel?
Feels good. You know, in the driver's seat, I have the advantage because it's a two-man gig. Your belt, true. I feel, is tougher to hold.
I'm a little worried about it, too, this week, because as of now, we don't have a lot of matches on the Chamber card.
Yeah.
And I also have the shortest reign out of all the reigns with our titles because I do think it is the hardest to retain. How many people are involved? Sometimes 6, right?
4 to 6, depending on who wants to throw their hat in the ring whenever, yeah.
Depending on when Aaron wants to stop hanging out with his soon-to-be wifey and watch wrestling.
Correct.
But you're married. You still watch wrestling. That's not an excuse to avoid, being a mark.
I agree, yeah. We just have a good setup, we 10 years.
Yeah, once you've known somebody for that long, you get it. You know how it works.
Yes.
You guys found your balance.
She appreciates the time of, me being out of the house, probably.
I like that. That's a good thing to have. Me and Jill kind of have that same dynamic going back and forth. Do you see my Valentine's Day post?
I did. It was cringy.
How dare you? I thought it was pretty funny. It got a lot of love.
It was funny.
Okay, at least you said it was funny. I didn't get a like from you or anything like that. No,
I don't like anything on Facebook.
I've noticed that.
I'm not.
In social media in general, you're kind of low key.
Yeah.
Is it because
I'm very active, but I'm not very active.
You're not a poster.
I'm present, but not active. I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that. Me, on the other hand, we all know tweets galore.
When I think about it, I'm kind of a dickhead.
Why is that?
Like on my birthday. A lot of people will tell me happy birthday. At least drop the HBD. I do that 0 times a year.
To no one.
Yeah. I didn't even tell my wife happy birthday on Facebook. I mean,
I even did that.
House. Yeah, I don't. But
you don't. Yeah, you don't have to. You live.
Yeah. I'll post something and get responses, and there are such as your Valentine's post. There are response-worthy posts. I just keep scrolling.
So on that Valentine's post, we're going off on a little tangent, but that's fine. That's how we do it to start off these shows.
Yeah.
I really didn't do like a Facebook purge, like clearing of the friends. And I saw somebody I'd never even talked to. She's one of my friend's ex-girlfriends. And to keep it quite frank, she's a bitch.
Yeah.
And she commented on it. And I was like, why am I friends with her? So I went through my friends list on Facebook. I deleted 100 people, and I felt great.
There you go.
Like, why do I need to be friends with these people? I don't talk to them.
Kind of unclogging the pipes.
Got to do it sometimes. I'm not as popular as you. I probably don't have the number that you have, but you also are a coach and teacher. And
there's probably a fair deletable amount, yes.
What's today's date, by the way?
The 18th.
So add 7. I'm on day 60 of my reign.
There you go.
To confirm your reign, you're on day 160.
Oh!
So 160 to 60 here with a title. I can't believe you've held my NXT title for 160 days.
Yes.
WrestleMania weekend, though.
And then they're infrequent. That's why. That's why my reign. My reign go over 200 days now. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how many days are we from WrestleMania? It's that same weekend.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. The next Takeover will be that weekend.
It's a 2-day Mania though.
Oh, that's true. Well, they probably can do it on Friday then.
Nah, do it after. Push it back.
Tuck's not in any rush to defend that title. But hey, before we get into NXT TakeOver and our Elimination Chamber predictions, we got to remind everybody that we are proudly a part of the Overtime Sports Network. Head to otsportsnetwork.wixsite.com/OTSN. Check out the new merchandise on the tab and get yourself an OTM t-shirt today. We told you last week to go get yourself one, and no one got an OTM shirt last week, Tuck. Why do people not listen to us?
Well, they were probably taking the Shawn Michaels approach and keeping the hands off the merchandise, which
I see what you did there.
It's respectable, but we need them to get their hands on the merchandise.
Just like I'm probably going to cop me a new MSK shirt, which I'm a big fan of.
That's up your alley.
Yeah. I think we've discussed this. There's a lot of black T-shirts in the wrestling world, and it's nice to change it up.
Ooh, yeah.
You saw the design, right, of the MSK?
Mm-hmm.
You think that's
me?
I
don't know. I don't like shirts with faces on them.
Oh, I agree.
I'm not going to wear a
You're
shirt.
wearing a shirt with a face on it right now.
Well, that's our guy.
Well, why don't you give him a shout-out? A free pub
Hey,
here.
Naz T, E-N-G, Naz T on Twitch, Naaz-T, Naz T.
I check out his streams often, actually. I'm
He's
very
active, yeah.
You got to stay at it in the Twitch game. Actually, speaking of Twitch, we're just going to get plugs out there. I'm going to be on Matt Haskell's Twitch stream this Saturday. I'm taking the trip to Indianapolis. We are going to start a March Madness team, and we're just going to run through it and try to win a championship.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. You know, that's the newest venture into my world there.
Wow. I didn't know he was based in Indy.
Yeah, he moved to Indy a couple years ago. He used to work for the Windy City Bulls, actually, up here. And before that, he worked for the Mets in Flushing, New York. So he's been bouncing around. He no longer works in sports, though, which is a tough place to work in sports because you don't get holidays off. You're working long hours. It's not great.
True.
But, hey, somebody's got to do it. But, yeah, go to otsportsnetwork.wixsite.com. Check out the merchandise. Click on the merchandise tab. You can also check out my most recent blog, Grading NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Did you get a chance to check that out?
Short and to the point. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's...
From a blogging perspective. I'm not trying to read a book, bro.
It's a blog, man.
Yeah.
Just get to the point, show some pictures. People love pictures.
I'm in agreement with most of your statements as well.
Okay. Because what I want to do, too, I want that to be the lead way into this podcast. So if you're a listener of the podcast, go check out the blog first, and then I can expand on those points some more, and then we can feed off of each other and see what you think as well. I think it's a win-win.
There we go.
So if you wanted to follow OTSN on Twitter and Instagram, Tuck, where would you go?
Easy @_OTSN on both platforms. Don't forget the underscore.
Yeah, you can't forget that. Got to get those 5 characters in there. But we're going to start things off talking about NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. Overall, if you didn't read my blog, I thought this was a fantastic show from top to bottom. And it started off with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez getting a win against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart to officially make them the very first ever Women's Dusty Cup champions. Hot start to the pay-per-view, Tuck, like I said, but not the winners that either of us expected.
It makes sense in hindsight, but, you know, we were both leaning towards Shotzi and Ember getting a push together while thinking Raquel Gonzalez would go off kind of on her own. But, you know, those two as a tag team, I guess, to me, they do strike me as a more formidable opponent to Baszler and Jax than Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart would be.
Well, I think also our thinking was the face-heel dynamic.
Yeah.
And that's why we went with Ember and Shotzi, who on their own are probably bigger stars than Kai and Gonzalez. But if you look at a unit as the team itself, Kai and Gonzalez now I think have been teaming for a year compared to Ember and Shotzi, which has been a flash in the pan.
Yes, and on the wrestling podcast,
you listened.
I'm whenever there's a new one, I listen.
Isn't it great?
I enjoy it. Brandon does a great job.
He does.
They proposed the name Big Trouble.
Yeah, that got shot down by Brandon Walker though, really quick.
Yeah, and he said he would help them come up with a new one.
Well,
so
speaking of that podcast, and I don't know how I didn't think of this comparison. I'm sure somebody else has too, but they talked about the Diesel Shawn Michaels dynamic that they have going on with Dakota and Raquel. Mm-hmm. That's spot on right there.
Yeah.
And it's very fun to watch. The match itself was awesome. I thought that was the perfect way to kick off the show. And now that we look back at it, it seems like it was the right decision. The right team won this,
they
right?
got it right, yeah.
Anything else from the match itself that you wanted to touch on?
No. Nope. I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Going into the pay-per-view, I didn't quite have a ton of super big excitement for it.
I don't think either of us did. I think we even stated it probably was one of the
kind of underhyped.
Right.
We were expecting a good show, which we certainly hand over fist received, but good. It was a good kickoff, and shout out to Mista for respecting we were cooking at the time, and she's like, "Well, just go watch."
Oh wow!
I don't have to.
What a gem!
I don't have to be in here cooking. She's like, "No, go." And we made snacks, stuff like that. So I
nice.
But
Valentine's Day too, man.
Yeah. That was 10 years ago. Our first date was on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Look at that. Hitting the decade mark. Look at you go.
Oh, yeah, baby.
So Dakota Kai and Raquel will now face Nia and Shayna in 2 weeks on NXT. Do you think they are going to win that match?
I do not.
Really?
I don't.
That's shocking because I think they do.
I hope they do because I'm tired of Jackson Baszler. Get the titles off of them and let Baszler go do her own thing, but probably not going to happen.
I mean, from a realistic look at things, look at the NXT women's division compared to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
There's no big tag teams on the main roster. So the only reason I think Kai and Gonzalez are going to win is because I think NXT can utilize those women's tag team championships the best. I mean, think of all the teams they have. And they showcased them this Wednesday on NXT.
Yeah.
You have The Way. You have Ember and Shotzi. You have the Robert Stone brand, who is not that credible, but they're there, so that's another team. And you also have Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. You have multiple tag teams in NXT. You can have multiple feuds right there.
Yeah, that's true. And it takes it releases a steam valve on the Raw and SmackDown side of getting the tag team titles on TV as well.
Because it also seems like on the main roster with those women's tag that they have separate feuds going on.
Yeah.
Not tag feuds, the singles feuds that Charlotte had with Lacey.
Yeah.
It was a mess. So hopefully Dakota Kai and Raquel can win in 2 weeks.
I agree. I would like that.
We'll see what happens. But after that, we got to see Johnny Gargano successfully retain his North American Championship in what I thought was the match of the year.
Really?
Granted, this is early. It's February. It's 2021. But for me, I just thought this was perfection from top to bottom. What did you think?
Now that you say it, I'm trying to think of a match that I would put over it. I do think.
Let me go find my list real quick. Keep going.
I do think it was match of the night. Both of them got after it. With Kushida, I haven't been able to see such a high work rate out of him to believe that he should be champion, but after a match like that, it's like at some point he needs to probably hold the strap.
Oh, I think so. And I don't think it's over either between these two.
I hope it isn't, which is weird for me to say because they hit the reset button on these feuds all the time, or the rewind, let's run it back.
Especially after the challenger loses.
Yeah.
So the matches, I have 3 matches right now on my match of the year candidates, and now that I think of this first one, I don't think it compares to the other 2. 2 of them are on NXT and one's on Raw. So there's none from AEW that have made the list.
And SmackDown's like the best show.
So Raw, I had Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre at the beginning of the year.
Okay, yeah.
Now that I think about it, it's probably not in the conversation anymore, so I might erase it. This still is for me, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel at New Year's Evil.
Oh, that was
great. And then Kushida and Gargano. Yeah. But you can make a case for a lot of matches, I think, on this card specifically for match of the year candidates, no?
Yep. I agree.
I just think the styles between Kushida and Gargano is what made this fantastic. And like I said on my blog, the storytelling was good too because Kushida always seemed to have a hold of Johnny's wrist. Mm-hmm. And we know Kushida's strength is that submission move that he has. But no matter what hold they were in, what reversal, he made sure he was keeping a hold of it.
Well, and the facials too. Johnny had this look of despair toward in the latter half of the match, like, does he have me figured out? Like, what in the world? So it was a very entertaining match. Absolutely.
So would you agree with me? Match of the year so far?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Clean sweep here from OTM.
I'll give you that. The MSK Grizzly Young Vets tag match was great.
Great.
Finn Balor and Pete Dunne was great. I think that one gets a little overshadowed by what happened after, but yeah, I think I'm cool with that.
I know Marini, I talked to her after the takeover. She thinks MSK versus the Grizzly Young Veterans was the best match of the year so far. I mean, we might as well.
I think the attachment to the two tag teams kind of gave me a little bit of separation, a little bit of distance. You're still trying to figure out MSK a little bit and the Grizzled Young Vets because they're not super present. So for me, Johnny Gargano. I'm familiar with Kushida. I think that might be why I picked that one over the other one.
Yeah, and MSK and Grizzly Young Veterans match was great, and we might as well just talk about it now. MSK went all the way in this tournament to defeat the Grizzled Young Veterans, and MSK is still undefeated in NXT, but I think the biggest takeaway, and this is no surprise to anyone, Wesley, he was absolutely incredible and lights out in this matchup. Like, if you're going to point out one future star in the making from this takeover, that's my guy right there.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if they get the heavy machinery treatment and Nash Carter ends up being Tucker, which is not a compliment.
But Nash Carter was great, too, in this match.
Well, yeah, they're both great. I really like them together, so there's probably more money as a singles guy, right?
Yeah, but I think you're going to get a good amount from their tag
What
run.
does MSK stand for?
I don't think they've ever specified. If anyone knows, let us know. Because honestly, I don't think they have. It's just
MSK.
I'm trying to think in my head.
Yeah, I don't
know. Yeah, I got
many super kicks, but they're not the Young Bucks.
No, they're not. But overall, do you think this match hurts the Grizzly Young Veterans losing for a second year in a row in the finals?
Here's how many times do they have the shot? Is the third time a charm? Do you want them to win after the third time? Because in another year, isn't there going to be another tag team on the way up that's just relevant? And, I don't know. It makes you think. I don't put so much I really like the Grizzled Young Veterans.
Oh,
I
so
like them.
Yeah, we talked about them last week.
So
you compared them to FTR, and I agreed.
And that's why I thought they would win, and it would make sense. But with booking like that, either team winning, you're in a good spot.
Oh, 100%.
So,
and I think if there was any match result I was most surprised with, it was this match right here.
Yeah. So from a surprise, like, oh, wow.
Yeah, not like, oh, my God, I can't believe that happened. Like, oh.
Kai and Gonzalez made sense. We didn't pick it, but it made sense.
I mean, MSK does.
It does make sense, but they're still so new, you don't expect it. Hats off to NXT for taking making the move.
Yeah, and they usually don't book people this hot out the gate, especially in NXT. Like, a lot of people, even the greats like Sasha, Becky, Bayley, all these people, except for like Kevin Owens and stuff, they were working squash matches at the beginning. They were getting pinned. Yeah. And then they got repackaged and built as a character. MSK's first night on NXT television, they won a match, and they haven't lost in their 3 or 4 matches that they've had.
Wow.
So they're going to be facing Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan in 2 weeks. So we have 2 tag team title matches. Do you see a title change here then?
Is Pat McAfee involved?
Well, you notice he had a video package.
That's what I'm saying.
Does he come back here?
Right. That
screws the new team MSK and
the only way I feel like they're credible is with Pat McAfee. I don't like those two. I don't like them. They don't
agree.
I would like MSK to be the champs because Burch and
they haven't done anything, man.
They're not doing it for me. So unless Pat McAfee comes back into the fold, sure. But
it's a great way to get heat too, because everybody's behind MSK. They had that new merch, like I said. They had that funny comedy bit while they were just watching all the women.
The pop. It was entertaining. It was entertaining to watch people talk in the ring, which is not usually a thing that I continue to watch. That's a good scrollable for me on the phone, and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, anytime you can make a GIF or a little clip out of that, and MSK is already proving that their entertainment value is super high.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to win. I think by hook or crook, some way, Lorcan and Burch. Because if you're booking them straight out to win the Dusty Cup, so they already have that accolade, why do they need titles 2 weeks after that, Like, Isn't that a lot to start off? Because what happens when you start losing?
Why is that show so packed? What is the relevance of that?
I know Tully Blanchard is wrestling on AEW that day. It's FTR Tully against Jurassic Express. That's the only thing I saw from AEW. That's happening March 3rd, I think it is. Like, who wants to see that? The dude's 70.
I'm in.
Because he's not going to do much, probably.
No.
So I guess from that. But we'll probably talk about AEW next episode. We got 2 more matches here from TakeOver. Io Shirai retained her title against Toni Storm and Mercedes. This match, I don't know if you saw, was unfortunately cut short on time, according to Triple H. So that's why that abrupt finish kind of happened, because not most people were expecting that to finish when it did.
Yeah.
But I still think for what they had and what they were able to accomplish, it was good. Probably the worst match of the night, but still a B.
The worst match out of 5 good matches. That's,
Yeah, it feels mean saying worst.
Right. It doesn't. It's nothing to scoff at when you look up and down that card. To me, I don't. Why did they rush it?
That's another thing I don't get. You're not on TV.
Yeah.
You're on your own network.
You only have 5 matches. Maybe were they just like so bent on keeping it under 2.5 or something? Or
I guess
3
that's just the NXT way. Maybe that's how Triple H.
I love NXT takeovers because you're in and you're out.
Oh, it's bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Like there's no miss.
Work rate, yes.
That's the great thing about a takeover, because like a main roster, you're gonna have a match that's like or booking that's confusing.
They get so fluffy with live crowds. They have gotten better in COVID, but you know when live crowds come back, WrestleMania is going to go to one day and be 11.5 hours.
Yeah. Imagine being there for that long. Like I would have like 8 pee breaks.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting just sitting at home. Imagine being in the stadium.
You got to take a nap halfway through.
I would have to like pick and choose the matches I want to cheer for, because I'd lose my voice after like 5.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this Battle Royal,
I'm out. Yeah.
Be quiet during that. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a good match. Anything else from that one?
No, it was good.
Main event, we had a technical masterpiece between Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. Finn Balor actually ended up winning this match. I thought the physicality between these two was the story here. It was very intense, and it had that big fight feel,
Yeah, and the selling involved, the false finishes, the Finn putting the guns up but not being able to with the mangled hands.
Yeah, that's true. A good little touch there.
Like all of that little stuff was great. That would be my second favorite match of the night. The MSK tag match would be 3rd. The Women's Dusty Cup would be 4th, and then the Triple Threat would be last for me.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. And we said this last week when we were giving our predictions. Pete Dunne has never been in a bad match.
No.
And it goes to show you put him here in the main event, knocked out of the park.
And Finn needed that. That's a bad, like badass, credible win.
Is Finn back?
Grinder. He's backer. He's getting there.
Yeah, no, like because we were saying on past episodes, like his reign's been but I think now it's starting to become a little bit more credible.
And with everything that happened after, there's that new layer too. What does it actually look like? How is it going to mix up and finish? So there's that element too. Finn is not so vanilla anymore.
100%. I think that's a perfect way of putting it.
And that is what we were yearning for. So
there's an edge to him now.
Yeah,
like we're starting to see the real Finn.
Will there be an edge to him?
No.
Okay.
Even though Edge did say that's what you're insinuating.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, Edge did say he was looking at NXT. There's no way. It's too crowded right now.
Yeah.
Especially like what are we doing with Karrion Kross? Like he's back and he's feuding with the Cruiserweight champion.
The real question is, what are we doing with Cameron Grimes?
I love that
He's
man.
Going,
I love this man right now. It's like the Orange Cassidy thing in AEW. I started off like, I don't get it, but that dude's highly entertaining.
Mista is intrigued. She doesn't like. Why
he got into
is
an
he
accident with that car yesterday. You see that?
Like a real accident?
No.
No.
Come on. No,
it's good.
It's kayfabe.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody knows that.
But
yeah,
she's like, why is he the way he is?
They have a lot going on. Cameron Grimes is out there. Karrion Kross. You have LA Knight now
Yeah.
a part of NXT, which is
Taya Valkyrie.
Oh shit, I forgot.
Hey.
I haven't seen any of her work. I think you're more familiar with her, right? In a
Vaguely.
little bit.
I just she's highly touted. That's basically all I know.
So there's just so much talent in NXT right now. But let's talk about the thing that happened. That's the one that's really stealing the headlines from this main event. If you haven't seen it by now, you're not an NXT fan. Adam Cole and the rest of the Undisputed Era would come out after this main event to save Finn from Dunn and the boys, and then Adam Cole would shock the system, super kicking Kyle O'Reilly, and then Finn Balor leaving Roderick Strong just standing there confused as hell to end NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day.
Yeah.
Who saw this one coming?
So as the show ended, and went off air, I was just sitting in my chair with this quiet, like trying to sort it out mentally, like, what the hell just happened?
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and we gift each other, send each other a gift, but it's like, I don't know how to convey.
So I haven't had a reaction to a takeover since Ciampa turned on Gargano, the DIY.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I had the same reaction. It's one of those where you just stand there, you see the credits go by, and you see the network special come up.
Wait, stop, wait.
And you're like,
come back,
trying to digest all that just happened.
Yeah.
You sent me a woe gif, and then I sent you the kid looking faded and confused because
yeah,
I was in shock at what just happened. But this is something that NXT needed.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the ratings, which a lot of people do, we really don't care about anymore. It's always been AEW, but I think this gives NXT a little bit of an edge going into the next home stretch.
I had to tune in. I had to tune in this week and see what happened. And that's what you almost take NXT for granted because you can come back to it. You're going to get good wrestling. You're going to get good stories. Let's go poke around with AEW, see what's going on.
Yeah, have some fun there.
No, I have to watch next week too. I feel like I don't know.
I'm hooked on NXT right now, and it's crazy because there was about a 2-month span where if I wasn't watching any wrestling live, AEW was the one I choose to record.
Yeah, but
now NXT's live or the one I'm going to record, and I'll get to AEW when I get to it. And that's not a knock on AEW. It's just NXT's hot in the streets right now, baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like how many directions they have now to go in that main event scene?
A lot. Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly's still in the mix.
Many avenues off of that roundabout.
Where does Roderick Strong align?
Well, and he looked good yesterday too. Like you forget how good of a wrestler he is.
Probably, I don't think this is a hot take. The most underrated wrestler in NXT.
Yeah, because I don't
him and Swerve. Because him and Swerve and Leon Ruff had a nice little
get together.
Yeah.
I don't think O'Reilly is underrated anymore.
Not anymore.
He's adequately rated, very high. Yeah.
So you hypothetically could have Cole versus Riley versus Finn at the next takeover. Maybe it's just Cole and Finn. Maybe Karrion Kross is in there for a 4-way. And maybe Roderick Strong even gets thrown into the mix. Like, you have so many options, but what's the one you want to see? Like, if you're booking WrestleMania weekend, put them all in?
Throw all of them in. Strong, Kross,
those 4.
Cole, Balor, O'Reilly, ladder match.
4-man ladder match?
That would be 5.
Wait, which one do you... Cole?
Cole, Riley, Strong, Balor, Kross.
Oh, Kross.
I don't know.
And
Kross doesn't. I don't know how Kross really figures into that.
That's the
mix,
thing. That's why I was saying 4, or you do 6 and Pete Dunne, because it doesn't look like Pete Dunne's.
Where's he
going
to go?
Yeah, that would be
Ciampa.
Yeah, you could throw him and Thatcher in to make 8, because usually a ladder match is 8.
Let's get.
Whew! Could you imagine that? And then you can still have another match between those main group, like after that on NXT, you have Finn Balor versus Adam Cole. Like, you have so many different avenues out of that too. Man, that'd be
like
something.
A kid. You got the box of Legos. You have so many options. You don't make
no game plan.
You have no idea what to do.
You're just going with it.
Yes,
and that's
many
good.
Brilliant pieces. Yeah, it's a good place to be.
So overall grade on my blog, I gave it an A. I think this was the best COVID era pay-per-view that we have gotten.
I don't think that's a stretch. Yeah.
Okay. So were you in the A territory as well?
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
Is it an A or is it an A plus? Is it, give it a 96, I guess?
Yeah, because
94?
I don't have a knock on the
Yeah.
pay-per-view. Like, there's no weak point. It's just I wanted maybe more from the women's championship match. That's it.
But that, you're splitting. You're
And
splitting
still,
so many
Io climbed
hairs.
a fucking
stanchion.
Yeah.
And went yabo. Yeah.
she's crazy, and Storm and Mercedes adds her own little twist to everything.
Very
so.
satisfying. Like that deep dish you had last week. How was that?
That was horrible.
It was not good.
It was bad.
Oh,
I didn't even eat. I threw away the other half.
You saved a lot of cows then.
If you go to Aldi, do not get the deep.
Man,
I warned you.
I talked about that when I got home.
Their
that
thin
deep
crust
dish.
is not good either. I had that yesterday.
Ugh.
But apparently, Vogus says you got to get the big ones that look like those big Sam's Club pizzas.
Oh, those are those are good.
Vogus even
Confirmed.
goes. He goes, next wrestling pay per view we watch together. Get one. I will pitch in for it.
There you go.
so that's what we're doing the next pay per view. I don't think it'll be the Elimination Chamber. This doesn't feel like a big one to get together for, but we do have 2 days of WrestleMania talk, so we're gonna have to plan something. And we could have Takeover that Friday. We could have 3 straight nights of wrestling that weekend to, plan out. I feel like we're going to have to watch that together. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. Elimination Chamber this Sunday. I am still the OTM pay-per-view champion, looking to retain my title, starting off with the United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley, the champion, taking on Keith Lee and Riddle. This definitely has the potential to be a match of the night. All 3 of these guys can go, and we know what they are capable of.
Yeah.
Keith Lee and Riddle had a great one-on-one match on Raw the other week, so I'm very excited for this one, actually, which is rare for a United States Championship match, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what they're doing with Riddle.
They're confused.
I don't like it.
And he's highly entertaining. Like, the jokes he makes backstage, I love it, but you got to stop pairing the man with the Lucha House Party.
I agree.
Just please stop. So I get to go first. The only other person I would think of, if it's not Bobby Lashley, is Keith Lee. Just because it's Keith Lee. There's not much else you can say to that, but they might be saving that moment for a Fastlane or for WrestleMania because I think they're going to have a one-on-one feud going forward. So my prediction is that Bobby Lashley retains his United States Championship. He has looked extremely strong recently on Monday Night Raw, so him losing here wouldn't make much sense to me. So give me Bobby Lashley. Tuck, what do you got?
I think it's Lashley. I don't know that they know what to do enough with Riddle yet to give him the title. And I don't know, maybe that's what he needs, but I'm going with Lashley too.
Yeah, maybe it's a surprise win here. I don't know, but I hate the way that they've made Riddle look with.
Yeah.
Isn't he getting put in that sleeper hold every week?
Like silly, yes.
And it's dumb. Like I tweeted it out. I was like, this dude fought in the MMA. You're telling me he can't escape that once? Just once, maybe? I don't know. It's kind of pissing me off, but we're both.
It's a big riddle to him. Okay.
God damn it! You really brainstorming now. Next match we're going to talk about here. This one's interesting. It's an elimination chamber for number 1 contendership for the Universal title. The winner of this match will face Roman Reigns. In the same night, you have King Corbin, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso. I think this one personally is very tough to call, but I think it comes down to 3 guys and 3 guys only. I'll let you decide first because you get to go first here. I got to pick Bobby Lashley. So
I wanted to hear your 3.
I'll give you my 3 guys just to be fair. I think it's all the faces because why would King Corbin face Roman Reigns? Why would Sami Zayn? That doesn't make sense. And Jey Uso is maybe the only one.
Yeah,
out of the heels.
But why does he have motivation to win?
To lay down for Roman later?
Why?
Just to pledge his allegiance to the bloodline?
Boo. I would love to say Cesaro, but apparently I'm a big Cesaro guy now. I don't
you in the Cesaro section now?
I don't see it happening. The C-section? I don't like that.
The C-section.
I don't like that.
Oh, that's good. That popped me. You got me there.
Yeah, you got the monitor too.
Yeah, sorry, it was funny.
I'm going. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns is going to be good, but
I've seen it 3 times.
I know
3 times. Do you want it a 4th? Do you think Kevin Owens deserves a fourth?
Is this a way to get the Daniel Bryan program to Roman Reigns? Have Edge take up Edge?
But look at it this way. Edge is probably facing Roman Reigns. So you got to think whoever wins this is either only getting the one-off here or they're getting the one-off and a Fastlane match.
Oh, yeah. There's Fastlane, too. Yeah, I forgot
sandwiched in between. So.
Give me Daniel Bryan.
All right. So that was my first original thought, and I'm glad I am not finalizing that pick. I think Daniel Bryan makes sense because Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns would be an outstanding match. But I am actually I'm joining the C-section here. I'm going with Cesaro. I like the way he's been booked on SmackDown lately. This might be the reason I lose my championship.
Might be the reason you retain.
That's also true. But the way you can't even dispute it. Who's been booked better right now in the last 3 weeks on SmackDown?
I like him a lot.
He needs a Universal title match. I don't think he's ever had one. Granted, I don't even think he's ever had a WWE Championship match, even if this is just for Elimination Chamber. There's not another member of the roster that I think deserves a major title shot than Cesaro. Why not do it here on the road to WrestleMania? Get the fans behind him. He's been hot. If you're hot, stay hot. If I was going to pick anybody else, maybe Kevin Owens, just because they've had their ongoing beef and they can continue that, I guess. But I'm going to shock the world with this one. I am going with Cesaro to win this Elimination Chamber.
I like it.
I hope it happens, Tuck. I really do. And I know you probably don't since you picked Daniel Bryan, but deep down, if Cesaro was the one that won, I think you'd be happy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I don't have the belt, so it's not like I'm losing the title and, so...
True that. So the Raw Women's Championship was going to happen, but we found out on Monday Night Raw, Lacey Evans is pregnant, Tuck.
Hey!
Original thought, we thought it was a work.
Yeah, and Ric Flair's reaction was very...
proud.
Weird. Yeah, and he said, call me daddy, which I'm like, are they insinuating that they bumped uglies? But
so Lacey is actually pregnant with her legit husband. Not Ric Flair, for those of you out there. But I feel like they still could have gone about that situation in a different way, because now people that just watch Monday Night Raw, they think Ric Flair is the one that knocked him up.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big fan of that. So that match probably is not going to happen. But if it still does and Asuka faces somebody at random, who do you think would be the one that she would face here?
I don't know.
Maybe Charlotte?
I guess.
But if Charlotte faces Asuka, you would have to think she probably wins, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or just give it to Peyton Royce. She's kind of been aligned with Lacey, kind of going off the Cesaro thing. She's never had a major title match that I can remember. Why not Peyton Royce?
Yeah. Okay.
We're not going to predict anything here, but it might happen, so it's something to keep an eye on. But something we know that is happening, the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber. Drew McIntyre, obviously the champion, taking on Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy. The Miz vacated his spot on Monday Night Raw, which I thought was actually a really smart booking decision right there.
Yes, makes sense for him, and the booking of it makes sense as well.
And he could still be lurking here. Odds we see a cash-in at Elimination Chamber. What do you think?
Not good.
No? Okay. So we know Kofi Kingston will fill in, a former WWE champion, so it goes along with the theme going on here. But when I found out that Kofi was going to be taking the spot, I immediately thought, Ali's going to do something, isn't he?
Yeah.
They'd be beefing.
I don't know how, though, inside the Elimination Chamber.
Shut it down! And they just get into the chamber.
And they just go wild.
Yeah, and then Slapjack's slapping his jack around.
What is that guy doing in the corner?
Shut it down!
Oh, he's slapping his jack over there. Look at that guy.
I don't know how they do it. Maybe
Maybe
Kofi loses and then he post-match attacks him. Or before the match, attacks him backstage. Because if you go back 2 years, Ali got hurt going into the Elimination Chamber.
Right.
And Kofi got that spot and ended up winning the championship. So we know Sheamus will enter the chamber last because he won the gauntlet match on Monday Night Raw. Do you think that sways your pick at all? That
No.
Sheamus, who's been kind of the number one contender to Drew McIntyre.
I think it makes me tune out until he gets in. Sheamus and Drew bang it out. Drew
Going
still
between
wins.
those two to you?
Really? I mean, Jeff Hardy? You going to give him
No.
Kofi?
No, not Kofi. I think you have I think you have 4 options.
Orton?
I think Orton's probably the third most likely.
McIntyre, Sheamus, Orton.
Because if Orton wins, you can have The Fiend go after Orton.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed in the promo video for the Chamber, there's like an evil laugh in the background, too. Some people are saying it's Alexa, and they're insinuating that The Fiend will be returning at the Chamber. What if The Fiend, the lights go out in the middle of the Chamber match, it comes down to Drew and Randy, and The Fiend just takes out Randy, and then boom, Drew McIntyre wins. I'm going with Drew McIntyre. I know it's my turn to go, but I thought about Randy Orton, I thought about Sheamus, but it just makes more sense for Drew to just hold it.
Yeah.
You in agreement?
Yeah. That's who I have, Drew.
All right.
I think that one's pretty cut.
And I think this one is pretty cut, too. The Universal Championship matchup between Roman Reigns and the winner of that Chamber. So in your situation, it is Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. In mine, it is Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. And I think regardless of who wins, we're going with Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah, I don't see him losing it 2 months ahead of WrestleMania. I just think the boat keeps rolling.
And especially with the story of they were just in a Chamber match, they're probably going to not be 100%. That they'll give him a run for his money, probably, Roman Reigns, but I don't think Cesaro is going to walk out of Elimination Chamber with the Universal Championship, and that means I'm going with Roman Reigns, and you're going with Roman Reigns in this one.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's still an interesting pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because Chambers are fun.
Yep.
We know there's going to be some cool spots, but
something to mix it up.
Not much on the card as of right now, which is Thursday before SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. They got a lot of buttons to button up. That's not great.
Tighten up.
A lot of zippers to zip.
Yeah. Words are coming out of the mouth here. So, yeah, those are all the official matchups we know. If this match were to happen, because we are recording before SmackDown, Big E versus Apollo Crews, who would you take in that one?
Big E.
I would, too.
Okay.
And if Ziggler and Rude took on the Street Profits, who would you take?
Ziggler and Rude.
I would agree with you. I'd probably go Ziggler and Rude, which means I wouldn't be surprised if the Street Profits won, by the way. But that means that our prediction show for at least us two, because we're going to have to ask Mikey and Vogus their picks, will come down to that number one contender Elimination Chamber match. That might be the way I lose it with the others.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, ain't no way Vogus is picking against Roman.
Right.
He ain't picking anyone other than Drew.
Yeah.
Mikey's probably picking Riddle and King Corbin.
Yep.
Poor Mikey, man. I don't know if he's ever going to get his hands on a title ever again.
If he puts burpees on it, the picks might tighten up. I don't know.
We're not like the Region Degenerates. We don't put burpees on the line. I'm not as in shape as you.
No.
You could pull them off.
Yeah, I don't want to, though.
Not a big burpee guy?
I don't like them.
We used to do them in high school, and we had our P-Fit class is what we called it, personal fitness for the athletes there.
Yeah.
And Coach Garrett was our weightlifting coach. He's actually still there at Crown Point. He was obviously only one person teaching the class, and there's 40 of us in there. Every time his head was turned around, we would just stand there and fake doing burpees.
Yep.
1, 3, 4. And then we would just raise arms. And he turns around, get down to the floor and do it. So that's a little fun fact on burpees. But hey, if you want to learn more about the burpee challenge, check out the Region Degenerates, Mikey Wilson's podcast with Nate Fowler and Kyle Crown on the Overtime Sports Network.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Tuck?
Nothing. No, I'm mildly excited for Elimination Chamber.
I'm at a 6.
Coming off a great NXT.
That helps.
I'm about a 6, yeah.
When are you going to get around to AEW this week?
Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I have nothing after school, kind of a chill day, so get to that, get to SmackDown. Yeah.
So I think SmackDown has some decent stuff coming up, don't they? I'm not sure. I haven't been. I love Pat McAfee on Twitter, by the way, with the Pat is right thing that he's doing.
Yes.
That guy needs to be back on WWE television.
Why? Yes, please.
It's like we said earlier, he was the only thing making them interesting. But overall, I think my excitement level is about a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, fair.
For Elimination Chamber. I probably am going to get around to AEW Dynamite tonight because there's not much else going on. And also going back, I'm now remembering last night, another way I'm fully invested in NXT, IU played at 8 o'clock, which is in the middle of the game. I had NXT pulled up on the laptop on my lap.
Wow.
Like usually I'm full on with IU.
Yep, that's
I
real.
said, dude, I ain't missing NXT tonight.
I respect it.
And a lot of women wrestled, which is not a bad thing.
No.
You're not going to see that on Dynamite. But
absolutely.
Other than that, Tucky, I think that's all I got from this week's wrestling action.
That'll do it. Next week, we'll have the Elimination Chamber recap and rundown. And
oh, hey, by the way, on SmackDown, you are getting what we had on Monday Night Raw to decide who will enter the chamber last between the 6 competitors.
Oh, that'll be cool. So that'll take up half of the show.
I'm sure it will. Actually, no, I'm misreading it. It's just a 6-man tag between the faces and the heels. Who will have momentum going into the Elimination Chamber? Because winning that matters, apparently.
Who cares? Oh, who cares?
Oh, who cares? Mike Francesa. I love that clip, by the way. That's one of my favorite ones.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark.